Yeah. Yo, man. What's good? It's your boy J Banner here for an exclusive Happy for Kush Coffee podcast. Today we got the CEO and founder of Micro Boost Mushroom Gummies, Mushroom Coffee, HAC, and Better Gummies. They got everything in here, man. They got some crazy stuff going on over here, man. Let me introduce you to Bob. What's up, Bob? How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me on, man.
No problem. I appreciate you coming on, bro. Tell me about yourself, man. Give a little introduction of what's going on over here at Micro Boost.
Yeah, well, we founded Micro Boost about a year ago, but I've been making plant-based medicine for 15 years now professionally, and kind of amateur style before that as well. Micro Boost is a functional mushroom brand. We do coffee, we do gummies, like that song you heard, and vegan soft gels. And we work with fruiting body extracts for everything that we make. So we can take lion's mane and put like a real therapeutic dose into a small form factor like a gummy or a soft gel, because we take concentrated versions of the fruiting bodies. So as a supplement manufacturer, in addition to running Micro Boost, we also make a bunch of different white label supplements, right? And one thing that over the past 4 years that I've learned is when people contact me and they want to put trendy ingredients into soft gels, gummies, your ashwagandas, your elderberry, functional mushrooms are very much in the zeitgeist, really popular right now. But, a lot of times people, they want to have all these things in there, and it's just like way too much powderized ingredients to fit into a product like that. You would need almost like a protein powder, just scooping stuff in to get a significant dose of anything in there, right? And so I'll explain that to them and say, we can put ashwagandha and elderberry and all these things in there, but if we're going to put all that in, then it's really not going to be a significant amount of any of them, just really a token amount. And so many supplement companies, I'm shocked to learn, will say like, oh, we don't really care. We just want to have it on the label that it's on there, and kind of basically trick the customer into buying something, that it's just all marketing.
Gimmick.
Yeah. And so with Micro Boost, we wanted to make a mushroom product. I wanted to do it before a year ago, but I had never found that concentrate that we needed, right? And I'm a soft gel guy, so I don't like the big 2-piece like horse capsules. I don't think they have the same value or perceived value in the marketplace. You can kind of make them at home and stuff. So I waited until I found this company out of Canada that makes these extracts. They've been doing it for 40 years, and it's just super high quality product. And a similar thing happens in the mushroom business. So a lot of mushroom companies that are out there, especially the original ones, we know that mushrooms grown commercially are grown on a starchy substrate, like corn or brown rice. And so it's called the mycelial block, because that substrate is where the mycelium will grow their root system and, absorb the nutrients from the grow material. And then out of that block comes the fruiting body, which is the stem, the cap of the mushroom. Some of the functional ones don't look like the traditional stem and cap, lion's mane looks more like that character from McDonald's, or like with the pom-pom head. But anyways, that fruiting body is what we use. I was shocked to learn that a lot of these mushroom companies actually pulverize the entire mycelial block and then sell that as mushrooms. Yeah. So it's not like brown rice or corn is bad for you, but essentially you're just getting a ton of filler.
Yeah.
You know, and so it says like 600 milligrams of lion's mane in a capsule. It could be 80% brown rice. And so I liken it to like buying an ounce of weed and getting 3/4 ounces of the dirt that the weed was growing. Right. It might be good dirt, but that's not what you're paid for.
Yeah.
You know, so so that was the beginning of Micro Boost, and you know, once we found that vendor that had that really quality product, that's when we could start making some cool products with our mushroom brands.
So 15 years leading up to this point, when you started back like experimenting, like just as far as like infusing stuff together, kind of.
In college, I started a cannabis butter company. It was actually vegan butter, and we put this label on it called like Crazy Jane's Vegan Herbal Butter with you know, a kooky looking granny on it. I even had like my dorm room like busted, and you know, like, we know that this is pot butter. I was like, no, it's not. You know, I like took a big spoonful of it. I was like, you see, why would I wouldn't do this if it was pot butter. But anyways, I graduated college and moved to LA to be a writer. Actually, I got my degree in creative writing, and a buddy of mine moved out here. We moved out here together. We started doing different odd jobs, ghostwriting, copywriting for porn. We did, you know, a bunch of different like joke writing sort of stuff, punched up the jokes in some drafts of books. We did like a skinny bitch like cookbook at one point. But every night when we were done with our work, we would talk about starting an edibles company called I Can't Believe It's Pot Butter, just because we thought it was a hilarious name. And after, you know, like a couple of weeks of, you know, just, you know, having pipe dreams about this, one night I was like, you know what, we can't keep talking about this. Either we got to do it, or, you know, I just want to stop talking about it. So I went to the grocery store, got some paper and pen, and, you know, started drawing out a business plan for it. And within a few months, we had this brand up and running. I was going to dispensaries. This is in like 2008, right? So it was right after I moved to LA the day Barack Obama won the election in November 2008. And prior to that, you know, it was 8 years of G.W. Bush administration. So all the dispensaries in California were pretty leery about working with people they didn't know. Okay. You know, especially a white guy from the suburbs walks in and, you know, says he has pounds for sale. They're like, we don't know you, man. We only buy from people we know. So I say, well, how do I get to know these guys? And that was how we came up with, like, well, we start making brownies, caramel corn, Rice Krispie treats. I go there every day, you know, give them free edibles, tell them jokes. I was doing stand-up comedy at the time.
Oh, so
I'm like working on a routine and just, you know, people smoking weed, tell them jokes, give them free brownies. And after a few months, you know, now we're friends. And so that was how, that was the motivation. Really, we made the edibles company to literally like butter people up so they would buy our flour. But then the edibles became more of a branding opportunity than flour. And, you know, we got our distribution really big, really fast. And so, and then at the time, so when you would go into a dispensary, they didn't have like, you know, 100 milligrams THC on brownies back then. Yeah. They had just completely arbitrary units of measurement. Like it would have a Rice Krispie treat and it would have like 10 skull and crossbones on it. Oh, you know, there would be like a root beer and it would be like, oh, this is equivalent to 25 puffs, you know? So you're just like, had no idea.
Yeah. Right? I remember drinking one of those damn root beers, man, or colas, because somebody brought me back from like Colorado or something. And bro, that shit fucked me up, you know? Yeah. You drink the whole soda, you think you're going to be cool, be able to chill, but nah, that shit hit different, you know? It's like, next thing you know, I'm just like, holy shit, what did I do, man? And I forgot I drank that soda and I was super fucking high.
I mean, I think everybody's had that edibles experience where they're like, oh, I'm going to eat a little bit of this. I don't think it's really working. Maybe it's weak. Maybe I should have some more. And then you eat, you know, another bite of it. And then a half hour later, it's like, it's far too much, you know, you can't undo that extra bite that you had. And so also it was frustrating because the way that, you know, people would determine at the dispensary whether or not they wanted to carry our product, they'd walk in, give them the sample, they're like, all right, we got this guy, Mikey. He's got the craziest tolerance and we're going to give him your edible. And if he gets high from it, you know, we'll buy it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, is that your entire customer basis? You know, just like this guy.
This guy,
you know?
his tolerance is super high.
And, you know, people love to talk shit too. So Mikey will be sitting there smoking a blunt in the corner. He's like, I don't think your brownie really works, bro. I was like, well, you should return the blunt then too, man, because you're already high, you know? So we wanted something that was like more scientific and more objective. And, you know, my whole career has been about, you know, to legitimize plant-based medicine, it's got to be like medicine in that it is predictable and measurable, right? You don't take an aspirin if you have a headache, and sometimes your headache goes away and sometimes you trip balls, you know, it's like, it's consistent. So we started a trade association for edibles manufacturers, and we called it CAPSCI, California Association for the Production of Safe Cannabis Edibles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we're all like 24 at this time, right? And we called up all the biggest edibles companies in the state, and we told them our idea. We're like, you know, also legalization was first on the ballot in 2010 in California. It lost because it was like midterm election, and you know, a lot of infighting. Half the people in cannabis didn't want it legal. Turns out they were totally 100% right to think that way. But you know, we didn't want bureaucrats to regulate edibles having no idea, you know, what they're talking about, which is typically how bureaucrats like to regulate stuff. So we wanted to show them, like, this is what you should do. You should test every batch, you know, put the milligrams of THC, not some arbitrary skull and crossbone units of measurement. And so we called this lab in Oakland called Steep Hill. They were one of the first labs in California or anywhere in the country that was testing THC and CBD. And we called them up. We said, you know, we want to get every edibles company to test every batch of edibles. And they were thrilled. They rolled out the red carpet because testing wasn't required at that time. So hardly anybody did it. Yeah. You know? And so they said we could have the meetings at their place, and we got everybody together. And, you know, frankly, some of the brands, they're like my age now, they were shocked. Like these 23, 24-year-old kids had, you know, just in like 6 months got everywhere in the state. And it was cool, you know, to be leaders at that early age. But, you know, they respected us despite our age, and we really worked together and, you know, created this system, which is why, you know, now you go into a dispensary and you actually know, and it has to be tested and proven what's in there.
Wow, that's cool as shit, man. Like, that's the reason why everybody's got microdose amount on there, because you guys actually kind of like started that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few other associations in Colorado and you know, some of the other states, Oregon, that were early adopters. You know, we're not the only ones that had this idea, but you know, California is a huge market.
Yeah, man, that's fucking sweet as hell though, because it's like the milligrams, like you like. Are they still accurate though? As if they say there's 3,000 milligrams, or there could be more still?
Well, I mean, in the regulated cannabis market, you know, it has to be within 10% plus or minus. You know, and there are ways to fudge the results, I'm sure, but you know, the BCC, the Board of Cannabis Control, is pretty strict about it, and you have to really get it right, because if you don't, then you're legally required to destroy all these cannabis edibles, you know. So if you make 100 milligram brownie and they're 115 milligrams, you know, maybe you should call Mikey, like a truckload of them, you know.
So did Mikey ever tell you, like, yo, dog, the brownies were hidden?
Yeah, and you know, and like there's so many different variables that go into it, right? You know, what you ate that day, you know, how much you drank the night before. You know, I remember one gal gave us a review of we had a line of drinks called Chronic Tonics, and it had Lazy Lemonade and Paradise Punch. She's like, yeah, I had one of those punches, you know, I chugged it and then I puked. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she's like, it was awesome. I was so high, you know. I was like, okay, well, to each their own, you know.
Oh, like after she consumed it, she like let it settle, then she puked?
Yeah, she vomited and then had like a 5-star review. So you never know, you know.
Man, I had a friend one time, I got some edibles, and he's like, oh man, I can eat these no problem, right? There's like one of those nerd ropes. He's like, oh, I eat these too. And somebody made some like homemade Rice Krispie treats, because we been making the butter too, you know, the wheat butter at home. So we make it and we use it for the batch. And then I got a batch of what the hell was it, man? It was like resin. I think it was resin.
Uh-huh.
So I had like almost like a half ounce of that, and I just threw it in like a whole batch of like Rice Krispie treats, and that shit made it super potent. So I didn't know how much they were, like milligram wise. So I gave my friend one of those and one of those nerd ropes. He's like, eat this, no problem. He calls me the next day. He said, man, bro, at like 2:30 in the morning, I woke up and I just threw up all over the place. He's like, but I was so fucking high though, because he's like, because he was talking shit like, all these ain't nothing, but you really don't know. Because your body breaks it down different. You know what I mean? It goes in through your liver, so the enzymes and everything changes different, the bloodstream. So that's why it's like hit you 10 times harder than you do if you smoke it. I like them, but I kind of ease off the edibles a little bit just so.
Same.
Because you don't know where it's going to go. Like you said, it could be good or it could just be like,
Well, we were so broke at the beginning and one of the things to like zag was we're going to make savory pot food too. So we made like hummus. We were in Little Armenia.
Yeah.
We made hummus. We made like hot sauce. We made pizzas and chicken wings and stuff. We quickly realized like the shelf life on those things was, one day. And so that didn't work out that great. But, we're making all that stuff at the beginning. And that was like the only food we had at our house, And so we called ganja food. And then if it didn't have ganja in it, we called it nanja food.
Nanja food?
Yeah. But basically what would happen is we'd work all day, making this stuff all day, not eat, and then be starving at the end of the day, and then open the fridge and there's pot pizza and chicken wings. Like, well, we are hungry. And then, you just get blasted and, it's a vicious cycle. Start all over again. Like, I'm never eating edibles again,
Well, been in the industry for like 15 years now, then, I mean, you probably consumed a lot of edibles and
enough for a lifetime, basically in that first 6 months.
So now you just casually smoke now and then, or you?
Yeah, I smoke pot every day. I microdose every other day. Take functional mushrooms every day. Yeah.
So moving forward, where you at now with the micro boost? After learning all that you over the 15 years of this, how, like you said, you started this in 2019?
Well, Custom Capsule Consultants is our white label manufacturing company, and we founded that in 2019. Micro Boost brand. We had like a company retreat in the summer of 2021, and we had like a Shark Tank game.
Oh no shit!
We did, and one of the teams had a functional mushroom line called Myco Boost. And their idea was to combine functional mushrooms with traditional supplements, or like we do with CBD. So they had like the brain had ginkgo biloba and niacin and some other synergistic ingredients in there. But that was really the where it all started, was a corporate retreat and just like a Shark Tank game that we all had to come up with some new product ideas. But now, I got years of experience dealing with dispensary people, with the hemp products that we sell. We sell to smoke shops. And so the new challenge with Micro Boost is just learning the buying ways of the grocery stores and the big box stores. And, I wish I could just go to the head of CVS and just give them pot food and tell them jokes every day. But it's a different process with them. So that's something that we're still navigating.
So you still got to get to the corporation, head of corporations for that, right? For CVS.
Yeah, exactly. But, mushroom coffee, mushroom products are becoming super popular now. It's very similar to how CBD became popular about 6-7 years ago. I think as its cooler older brother, THC, is becoming decriminalized. It's in the news and people are accepting it. I got a call from my grandma like 8-9 years ago, and Sanjay Gupta did this special on CNN about CBD. And she calls me up. She's like, "Did you know that about CBD? It like has all the benefits of marijuana, but with none of the high?" I was like, "Yes, Grandma, I know about CBD. Yes." But that's when it really starts to hit the mainstream, and when people like my grandma in the Midwest, hear it from somebody else, on television, then it's okay. Versus your grandson that's been talking about it forever. But now I think functional mushrooms are having a very similar moment. I mean, they've been traditional Chinese medicine for thousands and thousands of years. We found mushrooms in like Neanderthal mummified remains and stuff in the glaciers. But now, as psilocybin and psychedelic mushrooms are becoming legalized and decriminalized in cities and states, I think similar sort of thing. People are more curious about mushrooms and then learn, like CBD, like lion's mane, for example, does a lot of the same things that microdosing mushrooms does. Right? If you take a lot of mushrooms, you hallucinate and have a real spiritual experience. But what is happening is something called neuroplasticity. It's forming new neural connections, and in extreme cases, we have stuff called like synesthesia, right? And that's when you like close your eyes and can hear music, or you can taste colors, right?
Yeah.
There's these crosses that are happening in your brain that don't normally happen. But on a microdosing level, you're not having those auditory or visual hallucinations, but there is new connections that are firing in your brain, and that helps people overcome depression and anxiety and stuff like that, because it just sort of shows them that there's a new way of thinking, that the pattern or the habit that they go down that leads to that feeling of strong depression or anxiety. I think it just shows more awareness that that's really a choice. And the mushrooms show you that you have other options. And lion's mane works the same way. It has neurogenesis. It forms new neurons or new brain cells. When my mom would catch me smoking pot in high school, she'd say, "You're going to lose those brain cells, and they're never coming back." Well, now we've got lion's mane, Mom, so smoke away. But yeah, so that lion's mane is the number one mushroom. I think it has a really cool name that probably doesn't hurt. But it's the closest one to psilocybin with those sort of properties. But all mushrooms are fascinating the way that they work. I mean, the mycelium is the largest living organism on the planet. It's really like the internet for nature. And mycelium are like our neurons in our brain. They're just like these thin hairs that run throughout the entire world. It's under our feet right now, anywhere you are on Earth. And, they can send messages. They can send different nutrients to different parts of the forest that need it. And that's my working theory on how mushrooms works on people, is because everybody's different. Like what my brain needs and what your brain needs are going to be different things. I think that the mushrooms know. And they help you where you need the help. And that's just a working theory, but that's been, anecdotally my experience and a lot of people I know.
That's a cool ass theory though, because as far as taking mushrooms, and them working on you in a certain way or giving you that kind of thought process in your head, I was explaining to you, I was and because we're all gods in our own universe, so coming to that conclusion of me and realizing who the hell I am, people gravitate towards me kind of, I don't see myself as this big figure everybody sees me as. I still think I'm some 5'9" guy, but I'm actually 6'3", 280. But I feel I'm just a regular old 5'9", nobody. But in reality, man, I'm just fucking big figure, and it's crazy because I don't never get to see myself or really look at myself in the mirror like that to understand that, dude, you're a big guy, and sometimes I'll be like, damn. And my wife, shout out to my wife though, she's so little, and I'll be like, man, you know what I'm saying? She's so little, but and then coming back to that conclusion of your theory of the mushrooms know of what to the message to give you, when you're taking a listening trip like I have. And it's kind of cool, man, to think that way. And like you said, it's everywhere too. I was just reading too about the networks of the forest, of the trees, how they actually communicate throughout the jungle too. If that's why, you ever heard of the moving trees? You ever heard of the moving trees?
From Lord of the Rings?
But they said supposedly the forests really move at night. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the roots are up and move, they're different, and it's kind of some parts of the world in the Amazon, they be supposedly moving at night. It's kind of crazy too. The forest comes alive, just the nature is we like some Avatar shit coming together.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first moved to LA, one of my ghostwriting jobs was like a spiritual thriller, kind of like a Celestine Prophecy.
Yeah.
But it was about redwood trees, and it was like a metaphor for family. But redwood trees have an interconnected root system, and just like mycelium can pass nutrients and information to different parts of the forest. So I feel like really full circle, talking about mycelium and mushrooms all the time. Just reminds me of that gig I had right when I first moved to LA.
Yeah. So man, that's crazy. Just from you going, not knowing nobody, right, and you just taking fucking edibles, and then from you trying to sell your flower as a distributor, and then did they really like your product more as an edible, or did they like both products as like the flower and?
Oh yeah, I mean we did the flower for a long time too, but there wasn't really like flower brands at the time, right? Everybody had the big jars, so it wasn't as an opportunity to brand as easily as the cannabis, and there was just not a ton of professionalism in packaging or in general in the cannabis industry back then. So even at our first iteration was just Saran wrap with the sticker on there,
Yeah.
But that was more branding than most people had. And actually, I got arrested with like 80 pounds of flour, and so that really wiped out my whole bankroll. And ended up fighting that in court for years, beat it. But that at that time, we lost the bankroll, and I came back. I was like, well, we got to sell more brownies than ever. I'm about to have a giant lawyer bill. But yeah, fortunately, beat all of that with a collective defense and a DA that really pissed off the judge that day. So that worked out for me. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Fucking glad you got away from that and got that wiped off the table.
Yeah.
From all this experience that MicroBoost got with all the coffee, the gummies, and different products do different things, right? You said you got one here for immunity, you got one here for wellness, brain.
Right.
So how did you go about just like picking different things that you wanted to integrate into MicroBoost?
Yeah, so we have 3 different soft gel SKUs. The brain one is the one that I take every day. It's like my entrepreneur fuel. It's a combination of lion's mane and cordyceps, 750 milligrams of each mushroom per pill. So I take 2 every day. The lion's mane, like we talked about, great for focus, great for growing brain cells. And then cordyceps is a natural source of energy. It's great for your lung health, so people take it as a pre-workout sometimes. But that combination of those 2 we found is just great for energy and focus. And then the immunity one is a combination of turkey tail, chaga, and reishi, and they're just mushrooms that have the anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-cancer properties. So we put those all together for people looking for higher doses of those. And then, because mushrooms is so new to so many people, we made the wellness formula as well, which, people say, I want to take mushrooms, but I don't really know which ones to take. Wellness has all 5 of the functional mushrooms that we use in there. So really, those are some of the most mushrooms per unit that you can get. Our gummies taste delicious. And, they taste so good that it's hard to eat just one. But there's only 300 milligrams of mushrooms per gummy. So, you got to eat 5 gummies to get as much mushrooms as in one soft gel. But now our coffee has 3,000 milligrams of mushrooms per cup. Whenever we're coming out with a new product, I basically buy the top 10 selling products on Amazon or that I can find on the internet and try them all and really, try and understand what's in there, what's working for them. And what I found with the coffee in particular, there's brands like Mud Water, and they're called Mud Water in part because it doesn't really dissolve very well in the coffee. Like you always just have this like kind of sludge at the bottom of the cup, which I didn't think was that pleasing. And then a lot of them also taste like that myceliated oats, because there's so much of it in there. It just really tastes kind of like the dirt that the mushrooms were grown in. And so I didn't find that appealing either. And so I wanted something that was going to have none of that mycelial block stuff, just pure mushrooms and a lot of them, a therapeutic beneficial amount of them. And I wanted something that tasted good, because you might trick somebody into buying the product one time, but if it just tastes like, dirty water, like you're not going to change your habits for dirty water. I don't care how much you like mushrooms.
Yeah, for sure. Taste does help with the securing of somebody buying this thing, man, because that's for sure. Like, like mud water. I tried mud water one time, and it was just like, nah, this is not for
me. I mean, it's not hard to get something that dissolves and tastes good.
It's literally you go out and get some red clay and just call it clay water and call it a day. You know what I mean? And sell my product.
You get the right marketing team, you can sell most things.
So when you started Micro Boost up in 2019, that's like right at the heart of the pandemic. So how was that like for you, man?
Yeah, well, we strategically launched right as the world was shutting down. It was really tough. We're a brand new brand and a brand new company, so we didn't qualify for a lot of the employee retention credits and stuff. We just started, so it's like, oh yeah, we can give you credits, based on your pay stubs from 2019. It was like, well, we just started doing pay stubs in 2020. So basically, as soon as we launched, the pandemic had us all sent back home. And so we made a bunch of product prior to that, and I'm calling, CBD stores and everybody's afraid that they're going to go out of business. No one really knew at the beginning of the pandemic how bad it was going to be. And with a few exceptions, people would just hang up on me, but I found a few folks, right? I'd never give up. And I'd go and just like sit across the store from them, with a mask on. I'd do my presentation from 20 feet away. And, I really had a lot of opportunity to talk to them. There wasn't a ton of foot traffic coming in and out of there, interrupting my sales presentation. So just kept going. I met someone at a psychedelic conference last week, and she asked me, with all of the issues that come up in an emerging industry with troubles with partners and all the stuff that we hear with cannabis people and mushroom and hemp people, she's like, how do you keep going? And I just said, well, I just love it. I'm really fascinated and curious about these things. I'm an advocate for plant medicine because it's what it's done for me and for so many people that I know. And so I don't have an option but to persevere. Fortunately, the summer of 2020 is about when Delta 8 first started to hit the scene. I really think that saved not only our business, but a ton of hemp businesses, because now all of a sudden you had this legal cannabinoid that has 75% the effects of Delta 9 THC, and a ton of people at home looking for some relief. And in a lot of states, medical or recreational marijuana just wasn't an option. So that really helped revive our business. And I've got photos from the time of Armando and I making soft gels, and we have a measuring tape that we're still 6 feet apart. We kept coming into work. We were named a what do they call it? The necessary businesses, just like cannabis at the time too, essential businesses. So we were able to keep coming into work, but it was not easy.
Yeah. So hitting that part, man, how did that hit the spirit? Like you're launching a new company, and then the pandemic hits, and then like, how did that keep you? How did you keep your hopes alive, man? Like you just kept going, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I took money from friends and family to start the business. Friends worked for me. People like Armando, I met and hired, and it's just such great guys that anytime there is a struggle, I worry about myself last, really. And first I'm thinking about, my parents that invested in me, after when 15 years ago they would chide me for getting into cannabis. Now they've seen what I've done and they're investing in my business, and so I just don't want to let them down. I don't want to let my mother-in-law that invested, some of my best friends, and I never want to lay people off or tell somebody like I'm going to give you this opportunity and not come through. So I just did whatever it took. I would sit down at my desk and and email 150 people before lunch, and then come back after lunch, and 10, 15 people had responded to me, and just keep working it, and don't give up. And cannabis and mushrooms definitely help the spirit to persevere in times like that, and just working with people that you really care about too. And it's not just like me like pulling all the weight, trying to make it work. It's everybody coming together and really trying to see a vision together.
Yeah. So as far as being at that low part, you fell in a little bit of depression at all, man? Like,
oh, I mean, yeah, during the summer of 2020, when they had the George Floyd riots, and cops shooting activists, and the world just seemingly falling apart at the seams, and Trump, and I was definitely in a low place. I started going to therapy. I hadn't done therapy for years and years, and that was really helpful. I quit all intoxicants for like 3 months, including coffee, and just realized like the keeping the business alive was more important than anything, more than any of my vices or habits. And so with the help of that therapist, I just worked on some other coping mechanisms to deal with stress and stuff, and fortunately got through it. Thanks to all of our customers that believed in us early on, and we all grew together.
That's pretty awesome, man, to persevere through that at a tough time like that. And being as an entrepreneur myself, you got any kids or anything like that?
No kids. I have 2 dogs.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of my kids. Yeah.
Fur babies, so that's all right. But yeah, man. The pandemic, I was gracious enough to have a business too to keep going. People were actually, I think I was the busiest around my time because people were actually buying more photos because people had money all of a sudden. People were buying video shoots, so I was able to still travel because flights got even cheaper. So it was like my business actually made more of an impact based on because everybody else is getting those PPP loans or whatever was going on. So people were investing into themselves, and hadn't hired me for gigs. So I kind of survived. I think it kind of did me kind of good because I started the podcast too. Yeah. And in 2019, because I was once everything shut down, I was in the basement. Like forget it, I'm just gonna do it. Because I'm a big Joe Rogan fan too, so he's always talk about like, man, if you talk to people or you're interested to talk to other people, so just get them on there and start a podcast yourself. So I'm down there just listening to myself voice because at first there was a little bit of self-doubt, because thinking about everybody like their thought process or what they're gonna think about it, how their feedback on the podcast. How everybody is. Everybody's always throwing negative shade on somebody trying something new. So once I got over that fear, man, I just started to keep going, just keep dropping episodes and meeting new people. And here we are now, having you from Micro Boost talk about your products, man, which is pretty good, by the way, because I had tried one. I think it was this one. Yeah, when we met in Vegas, and man, I tell you, it was a shocker. I didn't think it was going to make me feel like that, but it was pretty good. Had me cool, relaxed. Like, it was just like, man, this is dope as hell. Off a little gummy,
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And this turkey tail, I think I remember hearing about this. There's a fungus guy. You ever heard of him on Netflix?
Oh, Paul Stamets has a TED Talk about turkey tail.
Yeah.
His mom had like stage 4 breast cancer, and high doses of turkey tail went into complete remission. And they gave her like months to live. She ended up living for years and years afterwards. Yeah,
that was a cool story, and I heard that, and I was like, man, that's pretty awesome that you integrated that into your product, man. So how are the what's your top seller out of all these right here right now?
The coffee is the top seller. It's our newest product, but I think that people already have the habit. Coffee is the #1 used drug in the world, and so everyone's got that habit of having the morning cup, and that's quickly become our best-selling product, and even more searched online than lion's mane, for example. The most searched term is mushroom coffee. So it's extremely popular right now. And, though we don't have the same marketing team or budget as a mud water, people that are looking for stuff like this and try ours and realize a dissolvable, non-dirt tasting coffee is possible, then, we get some converts.
Yeah.
And it's great to see. That's one of the awesome things. We met at a convention, but going to the conventions and seeing the real time reaction to people tasting our gummies or trying our coffee is really satisfying.
Yeah.
It's like you say, a lot of people talk shit, but I think that for every detractor out there, I remind myself too, you probably have 50 people that are admiring you from afar, but they're not saying anything.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I told my friend yesterday, man, like my Instagram has been going crazy since I've been in Cali, right? So it's like inboxes, everybody's watching, right? But nobody's really sharing or not you know what I'm saying, giving gratitude or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Showing anything like giving you satisfaction of what you're doing. It's just to uplift you a little bit, because that would be uplifting if somebody would be like, "Yo, bro, that's fucking awesome! Congratulations! Keep doing what you're doing." But nobody even does that. Everybody just rather watch you from afar, like you said, admire you from afar, and don't even and actually praying on your downfall. Even though they're admiring you're doing something, but they're really just waiting for you to fail. So then they'll say something to you like, "Oh, I told you couldn't do it," or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of giving you that uplifting moment when you're still battling all these demons every day. You wake up all this hard times, because we can fail at any moment in life, but this is how we persevere and get through it and keep going, like you did and what you experienced in 2019. And I guaranteed if it wasn't for the therapist, I probably would have.
Oh yeah, super helpful. And you can't do it alone sometimes, and being a big guy and a self-made guy, you want to say like that you can do everything on your own and you don't need anybody.
Yeah.
But it was such a challenging time that I was finally like, hey, I'll try anything.
So now that the pandemic's passed, man, everything now, how is everything? Is it come picked up back normal yet for you? Like,
I feel like I've never had a better team in my entire career. We're such a close-knit group. The production team will go and they watch each other's dogs. They go and eat mushrooms together.
Yeah.
They don't always invite me, but I have a great relationship with our fellow sales team and production team, and I just couldn't be more grateful. Over the years, you have people come and go, and sometimes they're really good for just a small part of time, but now I feel like everybody on the team really sees the vision and we're rowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
And that is what feels great. You can have a talented group of people or a high paid group of people, but if you're not all on the same page, you kind of just end up swimming in circles.
So the soft gel products, the vegan, how's the process for that? Like,
extremely painful at first. There's a reason why 99% of soft gels on the market are made with gelatin. They're much faster, cheaper, easier to produce. Vegan soft gels are the temperature and humidity required to make them has to be super dialed in. They're a lot stickier than gelatin soft gels, so you have to be careful when making them. And also when you saw the soft gel machine today, so it's really cool. It's like people don't, I think, realize until they see it sometimes, but it's two halves of a shell that come together, and they're at a millisecond where the oil or the active is injected into it and it seals. And when you're making gelatin soft gels, there's a wedge that it's heated that helps to seal those two halves. But with vegan, it's only pressure. So there's they have a lot more tendency to leak, and particularly to leak at the seam or where those two halves come together. And so, we had, maybe 50 runs where we would have 10, 15, 20% leaking soft gels. And, at the time, CBD was still valuable. It wasn't $300 a kilo. Now, back then it's still like $1,500 or so.
Yeah.
So it just, and we're a startup. So I see these money just like going down the drain. But eventually we really got it down. We developed a dye roll that has 3 seams. It's like a seal within a seal within a seal, and it keeps our vegan soft gel shrinkage or loss to less than 1% now. And it's awesome too. So when people make gelatin soft gels, a lot of times what they'll do is add what's called an enteric coating. enteric coating just raises the pH of the shell of the gelatin soft gel. And the reason they do that is because when you take a supplement, a soft gel, the pH is about 4.5, right? And our stomach acid pH is between 4 and 5. So when you swallow that supplement, it breaks down in your stomach, and your stomach acid can destroy a lot of the active ingredient in there, whether that's THC or vitamin C or lion's mane. But so they add the enteric coating, it'll raise the pH of the shell, and so it'll break down in your intestine rather than in your stomach. The tapioca starch, which is our gelatin alternative, has a natural pH of 7. So it naturally, will break down in your intestine rather than your stomach. We live on a real live street here in LA. We're outside our window now. We got
somebody doing a burnout.
Guy doing some donuts. Classic event down here.
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday.
Every Friday. The guy videos and the other guy burns rubber.
We also live near a fire station. 40 minutes in, I'm surprised we haven't had a fire truck roll by yet. Perfect podcast studio.
Was that a Mustang? Typical Mustangers.
It's so funny. It was a Mustang. A couple of Mexicans having a Friday evening.
Man, it's just like, I don't know if you ever seen those things on the internet though, but they got a bunch of Mustang memes, and they're like the worst drivers that like people get, and they're always in accidents and shit from doing shit like that.
I know, but also remember yourself when you were 18 or 19.
Oh yeah,
20 or 22. Dude.
But I never did that.
I used to jump from the second floor because I didn't have the patience to take the stairs. I swear to God, if I lie to you, I used to run and jump on the grass and roll out. I just couldn't sit. Anyhow, this is pretty good. Let's get back to the game.
Yeah.
This is one of my teammates that makes life so fun and easy, Jerry. In here.
Yeah, we were actually. You guys were looking like you guys were having a great time, so I figured I'll go join you guys and introduce myself outside of Vegas. And it was like, man, I'm glad I actually went up to you guys and met you guys, because we ever since we met, it's been a good kickoff, man. You guys respected me, and you guys embraced me too immediately, and it was fucking
best part of this industry.
Yeah, man, it was pretty good. And Jerry said, man, I like everything about you, man.
Yeah,
you're not your typical salesman. You didn't come sell me some bullshit. You fucking
not at all. I thought we were going somewhere for happy hour.
I definitely had a happy hour later that hour, because the micro boost gummy you gave me, it was a pretty good gummy, man. And I really had enjoyed my time with it after. Yeah, man. So now we're here with Bob and Jerry, and we got the chemist back here, the micro gel specialist, or should we say?
Yeah, Boris and I, we worked together at Tetra Labs, was the company we ran for 8 years, and he was the CTO. I did head of sales.
So you kind of snuck him away from over there, or what?
Yeah, actually, it was his idea. He was saying for years before 2019, we should really get into CBD. But, I was selling CBD at the dispensaries, and it was not the hottest seller. You walk in, and at first when it came out, we had a product that was 5 10 milligram CBD soft gels. So 50 milligrams of CBD that we sold for $50 a bottle, or $1 a milligram, right? So I go into these dispensaries, now we're friends. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, so I know you like the THC pills. The CBD ones are more expensive, and you don't get high at all. How many do you want? And it wasn't super popular, but after, stuff like Sanjay Gupta and, it becoming more in the mainstream, people started asking for it more and more. And after Boris, suggested it enough times, I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's start a CBD company. Yeah.
Cause that kind of migrated over there to Indiana too. Cause CBD is allowed to be sold in stores over there now too. And then like everybody started hopping on that binge. Next thing you know, everybody was selling their own CBD kind of mixture.
Oh yeah. It's the fastest boom to bust industry I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Delta 8 and all the psychoactive cannabinoids, I think, really saved the hemp industry from just tanking altogether.
And it's pretty cool to watch that all these cannabinoids come out of just this one plant, and everybody's just starting extracting certain things and then making different things with certain extractions, which is amazing from how much this plant could just give us, just from one plant. And people are making all these products like gummies, CBD, and it's just like cool to see, in the industry to blossom so different ways just from all these new ingredients or cannabinoids that people are finding or using now in the products.
Yeah, when they wrote the hemp farm bill, they really underestimated the ingenuity of the cannabis scientists to figure out some loopholes.
Yeah.
They quickly did.
Yeah, quick, right? And the next thing you know, and like I said, that they're selling Delta 8 products now in Indiana. We don't even allow to smoke regular THC weed.
Yeah,
it's illegal. But you literally go buy a Delta 8, it gives you like the same high almost.
Well, and with the edibles, there's no regulation on the amount of milligrams. So in California, the max amount of milligrams you can get in a pack of gummies is 100. And typically they're like 5 to 10 milligrams a gummy. Now, we had a company in Florida that ordered 250 milligrams Delta 8 per gummy, and they sell them in a 10 pack, and it's cheaper than the stuff you get at the dispensary because you don't have all the taxes.
The taxes and all that. Yeah.
Exorbitant taxes that they put on it,
Wow.
It hits almost the same.
Yeah. I feel like Delta 8 is like the Diet Coke of THC. It's like 75% as strong.
Yeah. So you also got a product called Boner, right? Boners.
Oh, CBD is better for boners. Yeah. Well, I like to tell jokes to break the ice in a sales pitch. So yeah, I always like to have a product that's got a punchline.
Yeah.
And it really breaks down the walls between people. You make them laugh, and then they feel like they're your friend.
Our boy Jerry had an experience with those, huh?
Yeah, I have a few under my pillow.
Oh man, yeah, this is amazing. I appreciate you guys, man, allowing me to come and give you guys an interview and
This
check
is
out
the
your
fun
product.
part of our day or job, really.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the tacos that we went to go check out, man, earlier. Is there anything else you want to step on before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, I do a lot of writing still. I got my degree in writing, and I've been published in Rolling Stone 3 times now.
That's
So
awesome.
if you look for Robert Johnson, Rolling Stone, psychedelics, you'll find I write about these psychedelic conferences that we attend. I've been published in like Green Entrepreneur and Nutritional Outlook, all sorts of different stuff. So I'd encourage your listeners to check out some of that. Hunter Thompson was one of my favorite writers growing up, and I always wanted to write about drugs in Rolling Stone. So I got to do that. You can find links to it on microboost.com as well. And yeah, check out our Instagram at microboost. It's with a Y, MYCRO boost. And I have some cool public speaking engagements coming up at some psychedelic conferences and maybe even on some television programs too. So, we'll stay in touch, and I'll let you know when those things are coming up.
Yeah, for sure. And if you ever come to Chicago, man, I know the Champs is coming out there in August, I believe. I don't know if you guys are going to make you guys.
Oh yeah, we went last year. I've got family in Illinois, so that'd be a good excuse to come out there.
Yeah, definitely, and we could definitely get you guys on the podcast again. And you said you used to do stand-up comedy, so I wanted to pick your brain about that real quick. How was that? Did you ever go out and try to like do it in like bars and stuff?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Did quite a few open mic nights, and yeah, a few sets.
Do you still encourage them, Jerry, when you're out there to go out and get up there once in a while?
I encourage them daily. Yeah, it makes life a lot more fun when you don't take yourself seriously.
Yeah. Of course, laughter is always a must in life, man. Laughter is always good, especially when you're working with good people. It makes you fucking laugh all the time. He's the clown of the workshop all the time.
There's many clowns. I might have said one joke last night because everybody was so happy talking.
That's what Boris was saying
everybody
yesterday.
had a good time. Boris is like, everyone's talking shit here. It's fun though.
Yeah. It's always good to be in a group around people like that and just be able to just open up, man, and have the shit talking go crazy,
Well, now my opportunity to tell jokes is at these psychedelic conferences and stuff. So you get me on a panel, I know my stuff, and I feel like I'm informative too, but just don't take myself too seriously.
Yeah,
you know? And I found that at a lot of these mushroom conferences, it's a new industry. We want to be respected and not considered just, far out hippies, right? But, it's still like such a cool plant that's showing us like, another dimension. I mean, we can't be that like self-serious about it. So that's my opportunity to crack some jokes now is whenever I get the mic at a conference.
You just feel like, fucking, I'm just going to take this room over real quick for 10 minutes. I'm going to give them a 10-minute set real quick.
You should actually see some of the talks. If they're videoed, you should see them. They're good.
Yeah. Definitely send me some links if you have some of the previous ones. I can definitely check them out and even put them on my description sometimes.
And then check out our Instagram too. It's just now we're giving it attention. Just now it's starting to look good.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be sharing your products more, and I'm definitely going to try every single one of these when I get back. I'm definitely going to try that coffee as soon as I get back to the room.
You definitely want to try this one of these on the airplane because it's like it's phenomenal. Actually, there's two of the same flavor. So these. Because there's that hemp derived HHC, which let's say it's similar to a cannabis THC, and it gives you that headspace.
Oh, okay.
And then you can enjoy if you like turkey tail, let's say, or cordyceps or whatever. I really like that. I almost want to maybe take this concept to a tattoo shop. You're gonna sit there, get a tattoo. Why not take a couple of gummies and chill out?
Yeah, I mean, I usually. When I got a big back piece on my back, it's my mom and my aunt.
Wow.
So it's my picture too. I took that picture of my mom and my tias. My tias are on the side, my mom's in the middle.
That's dope, dude.
Nice.
And I took some fucking Vicodin, man, to go sit down for those sessions. Fucking. And like you said, I would probably
This is all natural and vegan, and it tastes good. And look,
just to put you in that relaxed state, right? And then
I'll show you. I have pharmaceuticals because I can't sit still. I've also been hurt before when I was a kid and some various
jumping out of windows.
Jumping out of windows, being hit by a car in Taekwondo. I fell and cracked my coccyx bone. So. I'm not a big sitter anyway, so I do have like Ativan in my bag, right? Pharmaceutical for traveling, for sitting on the plane, for long. I don't do it. I don't take it. I still have it to know I have it. I have access to it, but I haven't touched it for years because I prefer to take some of this natural stuff.
Yeah, and natural is always better too.
Totally
always
honestly,
better.
To be very honest, yes.
Oh man, Jerry, anything you want to close out before we get out of here, man?
I really enjoyed you appreciating our hard work. That makes me very happy.
Well, entrepreneur from one, man. I put in just as much hard work, so I definitely know what it's like to put in hard work.
That's why you respect. Yeah, of course.
And then I appreciate you guys inviting me to your facility. It's amazing to see all the things going on, especially that soft gel machine. That shit was pretty cool, man. And I was telling Boris because that heat tracing that goes around the pipes.
Yeah.
I sew blankets, the jackets that go over that. So we would come and measure them and make a complete whole jacket. If you wanted something like that, though, but we do it in the industry, like the heat and cooling industry, like big.
Cool.
How high can you go?
High, like the temperature. We can make blankets for like 5,000 degrees. So it depends on the Kevlar and the material that you want. There's vermiculite. No, nothing like that. We got blankets that are just single jackets that would be 150 degrees.
We used to put a jacket on the reactor when we used to react Delta CBD into Delta 8. You have a reactor and it decarbs, and then we would jacket that just to
because it'll help with the heating to keep it at the temperature you want.
You don't realize it, but let's say in January, if it's 40 degrees during the day, it gets really cold at night.
Yeah.
Even here.
Yeah. And then that might affect the machine, right?
It does. Yeah. When you're working in production, you want to make things flow.
Yeah, of course.
It's like a kitchen.
Yeah, without heating, it just solidifies in lines, and at that point, you're pretty much screwed.
Man. And so the soft gels, before we get out of here, that's probably the most challenging part of what you guys do.
I mean, we're really experts at soft gels now, so we're always looking. We're always looking for something new to challenge ourselves. So soft gels, I feel like we have down. It's now like new formulas that sometimes come across the desk take a little while to figure out a way to make something taste good, be actually therapeutic dose, and yeah. So there's always something new, like that dab that you have too, right? That's got
The Delta 8.
distillate in it, so. The soft gel machine is not designed at all to put something that is solid at room temperature into a soft gel. But with Boris and Armando's help, we made some modifications to the machine and, can do stuff that it's definitely not designed to do. Now that we have a gummy machine, we're about to, try and really test and push the limits of what that thing can do too.
Oh yeah. And as far as experimenting with the new things that you guys can do.
Yeah, we got a gusher capability.
Oh, no
that
shit.
gummy machine, yeah. So I know all the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, the gusher shit.
Eat that up.
Yeah, that'd be cool as shit too. I don't think anybody's doing that now.
Yeah.
The gusher style kind of edible. That'd be kind of
very well. Like everybody wants to try it. Everybody.
So. How many line of products do you guys got total? You think?
Our white label catalog is 75 pages long. Yeah. It's far too many.
So you guys just be coming up in here every day with just coming up with new ideas, basically, probably. What can we try next? What can we try new?
Yeah, and in addition to the 75 pages, we make custom stuff for people too.
Oh,
so,
no shit.
There's a lot of stuff that we have made that we don't have listed on our catalog, but people come to us all the time, and sometimes they're like, this is the exact formula I want to make, and other times they're like, they have a feeling, I want something for sleep, or I want something for a mood enhancement, and I don't know what I want in there, and so we kind of start from the beginning and figure it out together.
Well, that's
but
all.
I love working with entrepreneurs. I love plant medicine, I love entrepreneurs, so it's like the perfect Venn diagram. Running this business,
and because we all know what we're going through as entrepreneurs too, so it's always easier to understand somebody else's story because you already lived it and you're living it still to this day. Like it's just amazing, man, to be here. I appreciate you guys coming on. Bob, Jerry, meeting you guys, Boris, my man. We exchanged some stories today. Yeah, man. Next time, hopefully we could do it in the studio in Chicago, and then.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, we could get
all you gotta do is invite us.
Oh, you're invited. I already gave you. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on. Can we play that song one more time to get out of here, man?
Oh yeah, sure.
My man played this micro boost song, the mushroom song, the money mushroom song.
Thanks for clarifying. You never know what song he's gonna play.
Well, man, this is a great time. I appreciate the hospitality. The fish tacos were amazing. The octopus taco was amazing. Appreciate the hospitality one more time, man. This is Kush and Coffee with Bob, Jerry, and Boris from Micro Boost, man.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.